What is up, besties? It is your girl, the Karmic DF, back to you again with another video. And this time, I'm just going to be doing a general collective prediction of what to expect this year so that you can have the best year, even though the world around us is going crazy. So real quick, if you're new here, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All the links to everything you'll ever need is in the description box below. And thank you as always to everybody that sits through 30 seconds of ads. It's a free and easy way to support my page. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. So numerology speaking, we are on year number 9. Now what that means is as a collective, we are wrapping shit up. So I don't know if you noticed this past year, but you may have been drawn to cut off friends, family, relationships. I keep hearing the song We're Not Gonna Take It Anymore, 1:33 on the clock when I'm saying that. 3 reminds me of Jupiter and expansion. So again, as a collective, we are expanding. We are deciding that we don't want what the past has been giving us. We don't want, yeah, like I'm being drawn to the Hierophant card in my mind's eye where it's like, how do I word this, Spirit? The collective consciousness is growing, and so we're kind of like, they're drawing me to the movie Free Guy, and highly recommend. It's on Disney Plus, where he's an NPC, a non-player character, and he wakes up and he's like, wait a second, I don't have to live like this. We are collectively growing in that avenue, which is why you're seeing a lot of transitions. We're seeing a lot of people that we once worshipped and now they're getting kicked to the curb. They're being shown as like mean girls, the whole Blake Lively debacle. That's going to continue. We're going to keep seeing more celebrities getting outed for how they are treating other people. I'm being drawn to jobs specifically. So you might start to notice that more people are coming forward about toxic work environments because, again, we're basically coming online. We're wrapping stuff up to head over into numerology number 1, which would be 2026. So in order for us to get to a new beginning as a collective consciousness, we have to release the old. And in order to do that, we have to face what we're not looking at. So again, you might start to feel like I'm seeing 2 magnets that once attached each other but are now repelling. So again, you might be drawn to cutting off people. You might have already done it. Depends on where you fall on this. If you have fixed placements, I'm looking at me too, don't worry, bestie. But if you have fixed placements, you might have a harder time with this. I'm also being drawn to if you might have retrograde planets in your birth chart. This might be harder for you as well because you might be used to going inwards, but you might not be used to making the leap of faith. I'm being drawn to the Fool card and how like walk by faith, not by sight. That's really hard for us as a collective, especially considering we're in such a transitional period in our time frame that it's kind of scary to believe in yourself. It's kind of scary to leave that job. We don't really have a lot of stability within the world itself. But here's the thing. The world is, yeah, I'm seeing the Tower cards in my mind's eye. It's crashing and burning because something new is forming, right? These old standards of living in all aspects, workplace, relationships, ways of thinking, right? How we talk to ourselves, how, you know, older generations might be like the Matilda scene where it's like, I'm big, you're small, I'm right, you're wrong. Whereas now we're looking at it as, but why though? Like think of a child where it's like, but why though? But why? We're starting to collectively get into this energy of, I'm not just going to take shit at face value. I want the facts. I want the receipts. I want to know what's really going on, right? And now we're starting to see it manifest in Hollywood. We're starting to see it manifest in politics. I also can't shake this, so I'm going to have to bring it up. I still feel like I'm hearing the word bounty. Donald Trump needs to be really careful. Depending on, it doesn't matter where you stand. If Kamala had won, I would say the same thing. There's a hit on him right now. Allegedly, no facts here. Because I just keep seeing a wanted sign with like a dollar amount. And I'm being drawn to the show Blacklist where they have like a government that's, if you know, you know, and I'm going to leave it there. So I am worried about Trump. So regardless of where you stand, listen, what is, oh, I'll just say it again. United we stand, divided we fall. That's what I just heard. So regardless of who the president is, if we have an unstable country, that's not good. And if you don't live in America, then just eat your popcorn. But I'm being drawn to how, didn't Trudeau or something like just, I don't follow any of that, but didn't he step down or something like that? We're going to start to see people being held accountable, being held to a higher standard. We're not going to put up with that shit anymore. It's like, we used to find out that people were bad and then we'd let it go and move on because, you know, we have this really quick, like, we move on from shit so fast. Like, I believe it's like you have 3 seconds to catch someone's attention on social media, otherwise you can't. Like, we as a society are so used to running away from ourselves that we don't really know how to be present. And so when we don't know how to be present, we use forms of escapism. And so we don't hold people accountable because we don't even hold ourselves accountable. But we are rising into this place where we are now going, I don't want this. This isn't good enough. I don't care. And the future is not promised, right? And when we get into that place, because think about it, right? Because I'm hearing the, when your back's against the wall, I think it's a song, but I can't, when your back's against the wall, whatever. When you're in a position where you have no choice and you're pushed against the wall, a lot of times that's when we grow, right? When something hard happens, like I said, when my fiance passed, that woke me up and I cut off a lot of people and I cut off a lot of residual things that I would put to the side because I had to realize that that death had to mean something for me. I had to make it mean something. That's how I get through hard things. I turn it into something positive. And you're going to see that the collective is kind of done with the bullshit, like as a whole. And so I'm hearing more uprising against government in particular. I almost wonder if there's going to be new movements coming into the scene because I'm being drawn to like Me Too and the signs. So we might see, what is that, Spirit? I almost wonder if there's going to be more protests, but my worry is I'm also seeing it turn into riots. So if you want to get involved in protests, that's wonderful, but think of collective mindset, right? Like if everybody's angry, that is really intense. Think about like when you're at a concert, right? And the vibes are really high, so it's like extra high. Or if like you're at a comedy show, everybody's laughing, it's really contagious. It's the same way with negative energy, right? So, because they're drawing me to January 6th, and whatever you feel on that, leave it alone. If that hive mindset, because I'm being drawn to like a group of bees, if the hive mindset thinks angry, then you might get swept away in that. So remember to ground yourself. Remember if you get involved in these protests to not go to jail, basically. Like I'm seeing people at a drunk tank. So I think we're going to be seeing riots and people getting arrested. And then I keep being drawn to like, we might be seeing laws being impacted because of this or like political changes. Like I'm seeing, I don't know a lot about politics, but I'm seeing like papers getting signed. You know what it reminds me of is like, you know how, the guy, Spirit, help me out, Adam Walsh, I think it is, the guy that did the show because his kid was stolen and murdered. I think we're going to see stuff like that. Like we might see new laws in like someone's name because of something. Yeah, I'm hearing the song Kelly Clarkson because of you. So again, we are going to see, I just keep hearing political unrest. I don't think this is just going to be America. I think it's globally speaking. So it depends on where you live, but I think you're going to see it too. You probably already are. What this is us transitioning into better. And unfortunately, in order to get to better, it has to fall apart. So Spirit's asking you to stay grounded, stay present in the moment. Turn off the news, bestie, I swear to God, because you don't want to get swept up, right? Like empathy, overwhelm is going to be something that you have to be careful about moving forward because it's going to drain you seeing everything. Like I'm being drawn to more brush fires, more hurricanes, more devastation. I'm being drawn to, wasn't there just recently a wildfire? I saw it when I opened Google for weather. We're going to see more of that because the earth is responding to us waking up, basically. We're basically going online for the first time. We're going from being non-player characters to being aware. And so because we're aware and because we want to change and we want better, and again, we're pushed against the wall, right? So we're going to start holding people accountable. I think we're going to be seeing more politicians going down, not shocking. Sorry that I'm not staring at the camera, but I'm channeling, so it's kind of hard for me to do both. What else, Spirit? This might be the year they get Jay-Z, because I am being drawn to Jay-Z. I'm seeing Jay-Z and Beyonce being pulled apart, so I almost wonder if a divorce is coming. Didn't they mention that she like removed part of her last name, the part that's his? Because I almost wonder if they're gonna split up and move or something. I'm seeing a split up, so they might split up. It feels like they're fighting at home. Like Beyonce's fucking pissed. So that's coming out. I don't know what that's gonna, we'll see what happens with that. I think they're gonna draw out the Blake and Justin thing. That's gonna be a long court case. It's reminding me so much of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. I think they're gonna fight each other tooth and nail is what I'm hearing. I think that might go on for a little bit. So we might be able to watch the trial. I don't know how that's gonna play out. Maybe not. They might actually end up doing a settlement. I'm not sure. It's up in the air right now because they're both trying to throw whatever. You know what I'm seeing is the 90s, like that hand where you throw it against the wall and it sticks. They're both trying to get something that sticks. But I am worried about Justin's career because they are trying to get him out. But anyway, Spirit, bring me back to the collective. I would describe this as the Fool card mixed with the Tower card if you're into tarot. But if not, we're falling apart to be rebuilt. So Spirit's kind of asking you if there's anything in your life that you feel you're getting pulled away from. They're drawing me to how, like, I quit smoking weed, but, like, I didn't want to. But every time I'd smoke, like, I'd get anxiety. And it was like, okay, this isn't even working for me anymore. Why am I doing this? So Spirit's kind of asking you if there's something that, like, your body's rejecting. If there's something that intuitively you feel like this isn't working for me anymore, but you can't really put words to it. It's because you're outgrowing it and you're headed in different directions. Remember that we all signed up to play a certain part in this world, and whether or not you're playing the person who evolves or the person that's the bad guy, we're all assigned different roles. We can't save everybody, right? Like, there's some people that decided to come onto this earth and maybe they're making up for bad karma that they had in a past life. You don't know. So unfortunately, you're going to not be able to take people with you. And if the universe is pulling you away from someone, if it's getting too hard to deal with them, if it's getting too hard to be in that relationship, Spirit's saying it's going to get worse because the universe is always working for you and not against you. And so basically this message is trying to tell you that right now is the time to really make you your main focus, because while the rest of the world's kind of in chaos, this is where you're creating the foundation of the you that's going to move forward, the you that you've always wanted to be. Spirit's kind of asking if you don't know what that is, to kind of like write down. I'm being drawn to the Tony Robbins quote where it's like, we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10. And that's kind of why we don't really go after our goals, right? Because it's like, who am I to think that I could be a YouTuber? Or who am I to think that I could actually make it in the music industry? But I'm also being drawn to the fact that right now is like, social media is on the rise. And so if you want to be a singer, if you want to be an actor, people are going to want authentic people. They're sick and tired of these rich people that have no awareness of what it's like to be us. Like, we're kind of done worshiping celebrities as a whole. Some people are going to take a little longer. That's fine, right? Like, there's billions of people on this planet. But if you're watching it, you're probably one of them that's like, I want to grow out of this. And as this is happening, there's going to be waves of evolution of humanity. And as that's happening, let yourself follow what it is that you want to do. Do you want to leave your job because it's not making you happy? Do you want to go back to college? Do you want to be a YouTuber? Do you want to be a musician? I keep being drawn to like indie music, indie films. Like, I see people getting poached off of like YouTube and TikTok. Like, there's people that are in like Hollywood that are management type of people that know that inauthentic people that are tone deaf, that doesn't know the price of a gallon of milk, like those type of people, we're getting sick and tired. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so this is the year where if you want to do something, music, I'm being drawn to painting, I'm being drawn to Etsy stores, technology is at a rise. And so jump on that bandwagon because you can. And there is enough room, whether that's, I feel like there's a lot of people on here that want to run their own businesses or want to start something that they just feel like isn't realistic. I almost see like some of you being like, I'm too old, or how could I make this my dream happen? Because that's not how you do it. Like, I'm being drawn to, I don't want to bring them up in specific, Spirit. Can you give me something else? We've been taught as a society that the only way to grow is like to go to college. Now, I'm not shitting on anybody that goes to college because for some people you need it, right? Like, if you want to get a degree to be a therapist, you need college. But for a lot of us, if you want to be a singer, you don't really need college, right? You just need one video to take off and boom, people know you. Like, I'm being drawn to the singer Anise, great singer, not super famous, but I think he hit like TikTok radio or something like that. I'm seeing more stuff like that. So whatever your passion project is that you don't believe is possible, start putting it out there. You don't have to quit your job today, but just, if you want to make a YouTube, make that YouTube. If you want to write your own music, start writing your own music, put it on Spotify, put it on wherever people put their music. I don't know. Even I've been drawn to making music lately. So again, whatever it is that you want to do or whoever it is you want to be, this is a year where we're wrapping up cycles to bring in the new. So things are going to be pulled away from you that don't serve you anymore. Don't fight it. Just ride the wave, because we're unintentionally and intentionally, depending on who you are, manifesting the reality you want. So let's say you're someone who's like, God, I want to love my job, and now your job's becoming unbearable. That's because it's being pulled away from you so that you could I moved. So that you can head into the direction that's right for you. A lot of times, and I did it myself, to this day I'm still bad at it, where things will get pulled away after you've literally said out loud, like, God, I hate this, I don't want to do this anymore. And we always assume that the universe is working against us, but in reality it's working for us so that we can become who we want. But as a species, we don't like change, and so we fight against it. So Spirit's asking you to really dive into what is getting uncomfortable for you, and how can we fill in those holes so that we don't go back to factory settings, is what I'm being drawn to. Like, it takes 21 days to make a habit. Think about, like, when you decide one day to, like, clean, and you move, let's say you move the trash can, right? But for the first few days, you keep walking to where it used to be. That's because our brain is designed to make our life easier for us, but it kind of makes us, I'm being drawn to the movie Click, where you kind of fast forward through things because that's what our brain is designed to do. It makes us not as mindful and not as aware of the present day moment. And when we don't do that as much, don't focus and be mindful, that's when we get stuck in cyclical behavior. That's why things are getting more intense. That's why relationships are getting harder to tolerate. That's why friendships are falling apart. This Spirit's really asking you to be like, what is my worth? Because everybody's worthy, right? And then how do I implement that in my daily life? Do I have friends that talk shit? Like, I mention this all the time. I used to be in a friend trio where I knew for a fact that they had a separate group chat where they talked shit about me, and yet I was still friends with them. Know your worth and charge accordingly is what Spirit is saying. If you're in a relationship that doesn't make you happy, it's only going to get more uncomfortable because the universe is actually working for you. The problem is we don't like change. We like to have things comfortable. But yeah, I'm hearing the song, Don't You Ever Get Too Comfortable. So it's like, please keep dreaming. Try to make it, like, I'm being drawn to the Oracle card, balance spirituality with practicality. So it's like figuring out what you want to be, who you want to be, and how can we implement that into our daily life until that becomes a new pattern. So, like, let's say, because they always set us up to fail with January 1st, and it's like, I'm going to go to the gym, but really April is kind of our new year. But, you know, society, whatever. Ask yourself who you want to be and what steps do we have to take there. And one thing that Spirit's really reminding me on and honing me on is a lot of times, in order to change, we have to release a lot. And so sometimes we'll try to manifest something, and then our world will turn into shambles, and we'll be like, oh my God, like, why is this happening to me? Like, I've been trying to manifest for so long, having freedom where I really want to travel. And lately, all I've been getting hit with is a lot of old shit coming up to the surface, a lot of old fears that I forgot I had, a lot of limiting mindsets and beliefs that were like hardwired into me because it came from as early as childhood. You know, I had parents that were really fucking poor. They lived in a really dangerous city. I've talked about this before. And so my parents came from a very strong fear mindset because they had to survive. They didn't get to thrive. And so Spirit's asking you, where are your mindsets where it's like, oh, I don't think I can? And then how do we change that belief? Because old shit will come up to the surface to be released in order to bring in the new. So when you're trying to manifest a new job, like, let's say let's do YouTube. This one's an easy one, right? Let's say you want to be like a huge YouTuber, but you don't have a solid sense of self and you don't take criticism well. Then in order to bring in that new reality, right? Like, I've been trying to manifest 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I really want that gold plaque, y'all. So please share my videos if you enjoy them. But it'll bring up the old shit because, like, for instance, the me that existed 5 years ago, there's no way she could have handled some of the fucking comments that end up on my videos because I don't say what y'all want to hear about these certain fucking celebrities. Things get shifted and shaken up within us because it's not serving us anymore. So every time you feel called to rest and now you're crying about a relationship from the past and you're like, I thought I was over this. Don't bully yourself because that's something coming up from your subconscious that you forgot about that's deeply set in. Like, I'm seeing like the chakras and then being like jammed. We have to acknowledge the old pain to make room for the new. So if you want to be a musician, someone who owns their own business, an Etsy shop, something like that, whatever old paradigms don't serve you anymore, they're going to come up first to be released to then take you to the new beginning that you want. And that doesn't mean like if you don't have to just want to be a business owner. Maybe you want to be a therapist, psychologist. Maybe you don't have to be someone who wants to own their own business. You could still be someone who wants to work a 9 to 5, but a 9 to 5 where you're appreciated, right? These things are going to come up because it has to go, right? Like if we have this really deep down belief that we're not good enough, until we release that, that's always going to be a trigger for us. So notice triggers, and I've said this in other videos, look at triggers as an opportunity to learn about yourself. When the emotion is not equivalent to the act of what's going on in that present moment, ask yourself why that is, because then you can do a deep dive and figure out, okay, well, I'm actually being triggered by this comment on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, because this is reminding me of how people have treated me in my past. And then this reminds me of how my mom or my father didn't. And then abandonment wounds. And then now I'm remembering why I felt like I wasn't good enough. These things come up for us so that we can look it in the eye, so that we can let it go. It's in our fabric. It's reminding me of science, where it's like energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It has to go somewhere. So when we don't acknowledge what we're feeling, it gets stored and trapped in our body, which is the root of disease. Though I'm not a medical professional, I have to say that. So when you're trying to get into the reality that you want, the uncomfortability has to come up first. The old awareness and the old paradigms have to come up first in order for you to step onto that new journey. Because it's reminding me a lot of, like, if you watch pick-a-cards, like I did this too, where I would watch like your future spouse reading. It would be like, we can't figure out who it is because right now you have to be doing healing work. And I'd be like, oh, so mad. Like, oh, I want my future husband right now. But now that I've been single for over a year and I've been focused primarily on myself, my needs, who I am, what I want, what I like, what I don't like, I don't want a relationship right now, because now I'm already so far in it where it's like, this is a blessing. Because if I still had all of these triggers, I would only be attracting someone that was designed to hit those triggers. That's why we attract unhealthy dynamics. It's meant to show us where we still have little tweaks to do within our makeup so that we can get better. That's why the emotionally avoidant will always attract the anxiously attached. Because until you realize you're worthy on your own, and until anxiously avoidant realizes that they have to open their heart, because they're both coming from a place of pain, right? Until we realize that, we're always going to attract something that basically neutralizes. The whole universe wants everything to be neutral. That's why there can't be no light without darkness, vice versa, right? So please know that this next year, things are going to start to feel uncomfortable if they're not meant for you. So if you're holding on to things with like a death grip, please realize that it's time to let that go, because whether or not you've intentionally done it or because it's the collective ascending, better's coming in for you. But you have to know what it's like to be on your own. You have to know what it's like to be happy alone. And as someone who really hated it myself, bestie, I don't judge you, it gets easy with time. You'll go from being lonely to being like, oh my God, like I cannot believe I used to settle. Like as someone, and let me know in the comments if you dealt with this, where you heal a bit and then you're like, oh, I hate being alone. And so you go to hang out with somebody and then you're like, nope, this is worse. Like I feel lonelier with these people that don't understand me. You're going to start to figure out who you are. So basically the message is like, let go, let God. Start to learn to listen to your inner compass over your logical mind, because the next couple of years, logic's kind of not really going to work unless you're in touch with your gut, in touch with your intuition, in touch with this doesn't feel good and so I can't do it. Like y'all, I wish I could be making a video 3 times a week, but I've been going through a really big expansion. My gifts have been like getting stronger. Lately, I've been seeing people in my room walk past me and disappear. It's creepy as fuck, but I manifested it because I am a medium. I'm just also a very logical person, so it's kind of hard for me. So allow yourself to figure out what it is that you want, who it is that you want to be. Make a list if you need to. Embody that Virgo energy where it's like, all right, what are my pros? What are my cons? What do I want to heal? What do I want to work on? And allow these triggers to come up for you so that you can see what repetitive behaviors, repetitive relationship dynamics are coming in to teach you so that you can evolve. Because that's the whole point of triggers. Triggers are merely mirrors into the subconscious mind of things that you haven't let go of. And once you can learn that that's a gift, because then, you know, when someone is really cruel to you and then it hurts and then you go down the spiral, allow yourself the time to turn everything off and go, well, where is this coming from? Embody that mindset of a child where it's like, but why though? But why though? They kill that in us so fucking quickly. As soon as grammar school, right? Got to go to school 100% of the time. They award you if you're not ever sick, which is just completely unrealistic. You have to realize that we've been bred as a species to just be little worker bees that don't really think, that don't really ask questions, that don't really aim for much. That was our old paradigm. Now we're in the age of Aquarius, where we're stepping outside of the box and we're going, you know what? This is my reality. This is my life. Yeah, I'm hearing the song, What I Say Goes, I'm in control. So what do you want that to look like? And how do we bridge the gap and allow those triggers to come out and realize that that is merely the window through which you're going to be able to evolve and adapt. I don't know why, but I'm being drawn to ladybugs. Maybe you guys have been seeing it, or you will be seeing ladybugs. Anything else, Spirit, before I wrap this up? I'm also hearing the song Vienna Waits for You. So I think the first 3 months, kind of, especially if you're in the winter area of the world, we're doing a lot of collective purging and releasing right now, even if you don't realize it. Like maybe you've been sleeping a lot lately, or maybe you've just been a little more emotional than normal, or you feel like you can't get things done the same amount that you used to. Whether it's conscious or not, you're releasing old wounds and you're shedding old skins so that you can make way for bigger and better things. So allow these shifts to occur, allow these emotions to come up. If you need a day off where you just got to cry in your bed, do that. You know, I have not liked this past month of me barely having the energy to do anything, but I've been releasing a lot and my gifts have been breaking. My clairvoyance has been off the charts. I've been seeing so much shit. And that's because I'm allowing the old to be released. So, you know, again, if you're crying over old, like, you know the saying, there's no use crying over spilled milk? Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You're releasing that because it's still a part of your makeup. And until you release that, you're going to be attracting things that trigger that. So there is use in crying over spilled milk, because otherwise it wouldn't bother you, right? Like, think about, like, why would you care about that ex, right? Unless there's still something attached to it. There was an ex situationship I had back in like 2020 that ruined me emotionally, but I was anxiously attached and I wanted him to basically prove that I was good enough, because I was projecting onto him that he was a lot better than he actually was. And then I had to face my abandonment wound. I had to face my why am I not good enough for this guy wound. I had to face not being put first, but I wasn't being put first by him or anyone else because I wasn't putting myself first. And that's what we need to do. We have to rearrange how our mind looks at things so that we can make this work for us. And so as long as you allow these emotions to come through, as long as you allow what's happening for you to happen for you and trust that there's a bigger purpose, you will eventually start realizing that you're flowing with your own waves. You're flowing with your own rhythm. And we're not used to that as a society. We're used to 9 to 5. We only get weekends off. Maybe we get a vacation in the summertime for a week or two. We're not designed like that. And when we start to learn to listen to our body, listen to our emotions, listen to our needs, that's when we can make room for bigger and better things. So this year, to summarize, is the year where we are wrapping shit up that doesn't serve us, and the things that we're holding on to that doesn't work for us is going to keep being pulled away. It's going to keep being more uncomfortable. If you're in a relationship you're miserable in, bestie, I hate to tell you, but it's going to get more uncomfortable. Same thing with jobs, same thing with lifestyle. If you're the type that's like, I really want to be, you know, more health conscious and I want to exercise more, but then, you know, the time comes and you don't feel like it, it's going to get more uncomfortable because the universe is kind of pushing you towards where it is that you wanted to be, where you wanted to head in life. But you have to make that happen for yourself. Anything else, Spirit, before I wrap it up? Give yourself grace. They're drawing me to, yeah, exactly. They're drawing me to AA because y'all know I was an alcoholic until like over 5 years ago. But in AA, right, we look at relapse as like, oh my God, you got to start back at 1. You're a failure. Like, you fucked up. But in reality, like, we always focus on what we didn't do, but like, what about those 6 months you were sober, right? You had that one slip up, which, yeah, not good, but then you went back to being sober. We always look at what we didn't do instead of what we did. So learn to change your mindset of like, let's say you exercise for 5 days in a row, but then you're exhausted. Let go, let God. Just dust, yeah, I'm here. Dust yourself off and try again. So it's like, don't beat yourself up if you can't change yourself overnight. That's too hard. No one can do that. If that was the case, I'd have done that years ago, bestie. It's been 5 years of self-development. I'm still not fully, because healing is a forever journey and we're taught to be perfect from young. And so it goes against the very fabric of our nature and our subconscious mind, going back to the programming, right? Whether intentional or not is semantics. So Notice where you're too hard on yourself. Notice that inner critic. Notice what it is. Just be mindful. You know, they're drawing me to how, and I'll wrap it up with this. They're drawing me to how Buddhist monks, I don't actually know if this is true. I heard this from a guy who is a YouTuber that did Buddhism for like, he went away, whatever the point is. They don't bully you for what you're addicted to. They're drawing me to this story where this guy said, I'm really addicted to chips and I can't quit chips. I've been trying, can't do it. And so apparently the Buddhist monk was like, all right, I want you to buy a fuck ton of chips, like $50 worth of chips. And the guy's like, what? And he's like, eat the chips. So it's being mindful of what it is that you don't want anymore until you're like, I don't need this anymore. Because when you're trying to battle something that you don't want, where it's like you're trying to like raw dog it, you know what I mean? Like when you quit alcohol and you're like, ugh. Not saying that you should continuously relapse on things, but instead of bullying yourself for, oh, I had a slip up, or, oh, I tried to quit smoking weed, but then I smoked again, or, oh, I've been trying to quit binging TikTok, but now I'm on TikTok. Stop looking at what you're not doing and start looking at the small progress that you have been. Because the more you start to make your brain go, look at what I have done though, the more your brain is going to adjust itself to then start to speak that way and start to see it that way. So what would go from you're horrible, you're awful, you don't do anything right, to no, I did really well. I did 5 out of 7 days. That's great. I'm going to try again next week. I did 3 out of 7 days. Not my favorite, but that's how we have to start to move as a collective. And once we start seeing life that way, life will adjust and it will be better for us. So don't bully yourself. Allow yourself the time to grieve the things that are coming up for you, because it's letting go of the fabric of your being so that you can become the person that you want to be. I hope this made sense. Let me know in the comments if you guys are feeling this as well. I'm hoping to be back and running next week. Fingers crossed. Send me some healing energy, please. But yeah, the collective is really just going through a heavy ascension where we're letting things go so that bigger and better can come in. But like all change, upheaval has to come in order for it to solidify itself. So let the governments do what they got to do, fall apart. Don't watch the news too much. Don't let your empathy reserves go on overload. Understand that this has to change, because think about it, right? Politics, they're not going to let it go without a fight. The people in the U.S. Senate, they've been in there for years, right? Like, they're not going to let go without a fight. Superstars, they're not going to let go without a fight. I mean, Jay-Z's never going to cop to what he did, allegedly, until they get him. Dead to rights is what I'm hearing. I do think Jay-Z's going down this year to some extent. I keep seeing a separation of him and Beyonce. I think Beyonce's trying to leave him. But I think he's fighting it, because I'm hearing over my dead body, so that's a little concerning. But yeah, so that's why we're seeing it on the outside with politics, with celebrities, because it's also happening to us. It's happening to everyone, everywhere. It's reminding me of, and I'll wrap it with this, I'm sorry. I know someone who's very fucking 3D. They're Leo like me, stuck in their fucking ways, and I see them making small steps. Now I see them like going organic, even though they used to be like, ugh, I'm never buying organic because it's so expensive. And it's like, what's more expensive? Organic foods, which yeah, it's fucked up that it's more expensive, or having diabetes, having cancer, having all this, right? So it's like, choose your hard. This is what this year is going to be. You're going to have to choose your hard, and you're going to have to commit to it. So is it choosing your hard as in really picking that relationship that you know is no good? Or is it choosing your hard, making the hard choice, and letting go and seeing if better can come in? Because if you say to the universe, I want bigger and better, the universe is going to be like, bet, this is what you got to get rid of. Are you willing? And they're going to ask you to choose your hard. And people might also come back, because if you're more spiritual, right, they might test you with it. Because it's reminded me of how anytime I'm going through like a really big up leveling, I hear from someone from the past 100% of the time. Someone comes out of nowhere, hey Mindy, I've been thinking about you. And I'm like, no, not today, Satan. So just realize that the universe is conspiring in your favor. You just have to change the narrative of your mindset so that you can see that it is working out for you. And once you do that, the world is going to be a better place for you. And then it's going to up-level the collective consciousness, which again is going to cause more trauma for the collective. But that's how change happens. We don't usually change when we're comfortable, right? We change when we're uncomfortable. So know this now so that when it gets more uncomfortable as this year progresses, you could be like, oh yeah, karmic said this would happen. So I'm going to let go and I'm going to see what happens, because I know that this is being removed from me because I deserve better. These friends are going away because I deserve better friends. This job is becoming unbearable because there's something better in store for me in terms of career. This relationship is dead and gone because there's a better spouse on the way. And if you allow it to happen and follow the rhythm of your own inner compass, your gut, your intuition, if you're clairsentient, all of that, it will work out for you. It's just that we weren't taught how the universe really works. We weren't taught how energy likes energy. We were taught to be busy little worker bees that don't question anything. The more you question everything, the more you become mindful, the more you become aware, the more you realize that things are working out for you. I'm seeing 1010 in my mind's eye, 222, 111, and 1111, also 444. So if you're seeing any of those angel numbers, or if you start to see those angel numbers, that spirit's showing you endings are coming as well as new beginnings. And then 444 is always about your angels being around. So you're being protected, you're being watched over. Allow it to happen and see what good can come for you. So I'm going to leave it here, bestie. The Karmic DF, if you want to book a reading. I have been on pause because your girl's going through ascension symptoms and shadow work, and I'm exhausted and my body hurts and everything hurts. But I am allowing it because I know that better is coming for me. And once you start to have that mindset, then better will come for you. So let me know down in the comments. I want you to affirm that this is your year. You're going to let go. You're going to stop settling for shit you know you don't deserve, because God, the universe, whatever you believe in, it wants to bless you with bigger and better. But you have to believe you deserve it, which is where we go back to reframing the mindset. How can we talk to ourselves better? How can we let go of old paradigms that don't work for us so that we can get the best case scenario, the highest timeline, whatever it is that you're looking for. So I'm going to leave it here, besties. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this prediction video. And I can't talk today. Do you see what I mean? I will see you guys in my next video. Let me know if you guys are going to work on this. I want to hear from you down below in the comments. And thank you so much.